This is Insider Talk by Start Frugal, a community that provides all the help that your startups need. A question that every single founder will ask themselves is, should I raise or not? In 2021 alone, more than $10 billion were invested into Australian and New Zealand startups. But some amazing companies also made it without raising any money. I will walk you through a few reasons why raising capital could be a great idea for you and why you should probably bootstrapping for longer. First, raising capital makes capital-intensive projects possible. Some companies, like building hardware chips or building a factory, can be so expensive that it's almost impossible for individual founders to fund themselves. In this case, raising some money from professional investors in the form of venture capital or debt can be a great idea. Second, you can shorten the path to market by having additional funding upfront. You can use the money to hire talent, build a team, develop a great product faster and stronger, and probably have a better marketing campaigns to outwin your competitors. This is extremely helpful when you're competing with so many players in the market, and the market could be consolidating very soon. So you will have a window of opportunities just by raising earlier to grow faster. One of the most important reasons why some experienced founders also raise from venture capital is the support that they may be able to get. This includes network, which is access to future follow-on funding rounds and portfolio companies that they have. For example, if you're building a partnership with a specific company, it'll be way easier if you belong to the same portfolio company of the same investor. In the future rounds, a lot of times investors will help with fundraising to pull together a list of investors who can invest in your company along with them, which means once you are invested by one investor, it's way easier to raise money in the future rounds. There are also many good reasons why you should bootstrap for longer or reconsider before you take an investment. First, for some founders, having control over the company is very, very important. When you introduce some investors into the company, you could be getting them to help with you in company strategy, but that also means if you don't agree with each other, then you will need to put more effort in to get yourself aligned. In the good side, you get a great sounding board, but on the flip side, when the board is not aligned, as a founder, you may need to do a lot extra work. In the most extreme cases, some investors may replace the founder out of the company with another CEO. Second, bootstrapping for longer also means that you can hold your shares for longer instead of selling your shares for a cheaper price in the early rounds. If you do decide to raise in the future, assume that you have achieved the same milestones. Your shares will be worth a lot more and you don't need to dilute as much in the future rounds. If you do decide to sell or get the company listed, that will mean that you will benefit from the company growth a lot more compared to if you have raised from the early days. On the exit, some founders only earn 10% or a bit more if they have been raising a lot of the funding. That is especially true if you have multiple founders in the company. And finally, one of the very, very important reasons why people decide to bootstrap for a little bit longer is that you can control the pace of your startup. Once you start raising from investors, usually you will need to raise again every 2 or 3 years. And investors will have expectations for the returns, which means you may need to sell earlier than you would prefer to, or find another way to monetize your company when you want to take it slow and validate the product. Sometimes, if a company is experiencing a flat growth, that does not necessarily mean that they're a bad company. It can be a great company for customers, but on the flip side, it might not be an ideal candidate for venture capital investors, and that can create a lot of pressure for a founder. I hope this video gave you a little bit more clarity about your current situation. In the future videos, I will talk a little bit about how do you craft your fundraising strategy if you do decide to go down the fundraising path. I will see you next time.